Hi, my name's Johnny and today we are finally taking a look at the legendary Cali76 bass compressor from Origin Effects. So the Cali76 is a studio class FET compressor, world famous compressors. The pedigree of the Cali76 range is so well known. Always wanted one. You might have seen them before. They're massive, the old kind of style ones, and they go for a hefty price online. Origin Effects are back. I say back, this has been out for a very long time, but they're back in my mind. Compact version and a specific one for bass. So these compressors are pretty high end. You're looking at about £289 for one of these new. Today we're going to be looking at diving into the controls, having a listen, and seeing if it's really worth all that money. Before we go anywhere, don't forget to hit like on this video. It really helps it out reach more people.
Hit that like button.
And don't forget to subscribe for even more. Anyway, so for those who for those who, for God's sake, for those out there who might not even know what a compressor is, imagine this is your tone, this is your sound wave. Compressor will bring the lows up and bring the peaking high notes. I say high notes, I mean loud notes. Notes low in volume up, the notes high in volume down to give you a more consistent sound. And there's loads of parameters within that. Within a compressor that you typically see on these pedals that can help you control how you're doing that. That's a very simple description of what it is doing. For me, playing really hard with a pick and wanting to gel in a mix in a band, I think a compressor is an absolute must for me. And for me, it's an always on effect. You can use compressors as like a clean boost pedal if you wanted to. So I've always got a compressor on my sound, but not something that sounds artificial. The problem with more affordable compressors is that often they are a bit too compressed sounding. It kind of sucks out your tone, doesn't make it sound very natural. Whereas the more high-end ones maybe have some controls that will allow you to make it sound more natural. Let's have a look, shall we? So starting on the right-hand side of the pedal, we've got in and out gain controls. Now these are really handy if you've got really hot signal coming in and you want to turn it down a little bit, then you can do that. And then you can also control the output, how much volume it is putting out. I'll get to this one in a minute. So along the bottom, we've got a ratio knob. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try and explain how the ratio works. Lots of science and maths going on that's way beyond me. In basic terms, it's kind of how much compression that you're adding on, basically. Very basic description of what that is doing. Then we've got the attack/release knob. Now this is interesting because most compressors that have a few knobs will often have these two separated. So it's really interesting to see a really high-end pedal combining these two. But it's a very clever knob, just like me. It's all the way to the left. Fast attack. So that is the speed at which the compressor is engaging on your note. So as soon as you hit that note, the compressor is there, grabbing it by the balls. And a slow release. And that's why it's got FS down there. Fast, slow. Fast attack, slow release. Other side, of course, you've got a slow attack and a fast release. And the release is then controlling how long it's holding on to that note for. Lots of different sounds in just that one knob. The feature that actually makes this the bass version stand out even more, and not something that you often see on compressor pedals, is a high pass filter control. Now most compressors will just compress the entire signal, or everything in what you're doing. What this knob allows you to do is have a little filter that sweeps through the frequencies. It's telling it what you want to compress. All the way over to the left, you're saying compress it all. compress all of that signal, get it all. And then when you start rolling it off, it starts moving through and releasing some of the low end signals. The more you move it to the right, the more you're saying, you know what? I like those lows, leave them uncompressed. I don't want them to be too compressed. Sometimes you don't want to compress the low end too much. You want it to be more natural. And that is why the dry knob up here is so handy. I love a dry knob. The things I say on the internet. What this does is controlling the amount of your dry signal that's in there. So all the way to the left is fully compressed, no dry signal. As you move it in, you're blending into that dry signal. So you can really get a range of really natural sounding tones. And that's what I really like about this pedal. So time for me to shut up and we'll start listening to what this thing can do. So this is all using the Yamaha BB434 into the Cali76 and then into the Line 6 HX Stomp using the Ampeg SVT4 Pro amp sim. Now, one thing I will say is that some of these changes in the knobs are very subtle. So if you're listening through a phone or maybe laptop speakers or something like that, recommend using a good set of speakers or some decent headphones to listen to this demo. So there it is. To start with, obviously, this thing, legendary, tasty tones. This thing, God's sake, I love a dry knob. This thing is built like a tank, like that ain't gonna let you down. That is a quality bit of gear. But for the price tag, you know, you're gonna be expecting that. The features that I really like about this pedal, the high pass filter, I think that is that's really handy. And also that dry knob, these two corner ones are so useful for really getting a more natural sound. I don't really like it when compressors kick in too fast and kind of give you that artificial sounding first note. You start to get a little bit of that sound when it's all the way up and everything's all compressed, and you know, when you get in like these kind of settings. But to be honest, even then, it's not that artificial sounding, just a bit weird. I thought it was broken, first of all. I turned it on and the light was red, and I was like, oh, red. That's not a good sign. The universe has told me that red is evil. But that's just to say that it's on. Thought that I had some dirty power or something, and it wasn't being powered by the right power supply. But that's just what it does when it's on. So whilst this doesn't really have its own sound, it really does a great job at enhancing your tone. It livens things up, really brings out all the nuances in the percussion, the percussiveness of my playing. This really sits well with me in my pedal board situation. But is it worth 285 smackaroons? As much as I love this, that is a lot of money. It's a tough one. I don't think I'll ever sell this. It just works exactly the way that I want it to. But I did buy this second hand. That is where I'd recommend looking first. If you can get one at a good price second hand, you're gonna be laughing. It's gonna serve you well. I've always held off on buying one because they were so expensive new, and whilst it's nice, I can't bring myself to tell you guys that, yeah, I think it's worth that money, because I personally wouldn't buy one for that money, because I'm a cheapskate and because I don't know, I just never, although I always really wanted one, and you know, it was worth the wait and I really like it, I just can't, if I never plucked up the courage and money to buy one before, I can't recommend saying that, yeah, you should do the same. So yeah, based on my personal experience, I'd say try and pick one up. I don't know if that helps anyone or not, so let me know in the comment section down below how you found this pedal. Do you think it's worth the money? And what is your favourite compressor? I would love to hear. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.